Howdy, friends. Howdy, everyone. Welcome to Inside Russia. Welcome to the final day of Russian president elections 2024. Definitely one of the biggest events in the course of a country. Perhaps the biggest event. We don't know that yet. But definitely this is the event that we can definitely call milestone. It's going to be a stream where I'll be taking you, I'll be giving you information as it comes in live, one of those things. So please bear with me. I will be looking at the screen. And let me just, to start with, turning off the live stream chat, because this is an open chat. We have one moderator today so far, Dirk, and others might be coming and joining. I don't know, that time difference is really not helping right now. So one thing I would like to ask you is please keep this chat civil. And Dirk, you are in charge of making sure that it is civil, it is clean, it is pleasant. This is it. Thank you very much for the tea. Much appreciated. Let me just turn on the live stream chat on. As usual, put your comments in all caps and put Inside Russia after @sign. So I see your messages or questions highlighted in orange. My attention will be scattered all over the place, so it's going to be real difficult for me to answer all questions and even see them. Sean Mueller, thank you so much. Welcome to Inside Russia. And friends, thank you for coming. Dirk, thank you for helping. Good to see you all. So, I prepared a little bit. Let me give you some information first. How about we start with watching this video?
Так, вот теперь давайте, только не пугайтесь сильно. И осторожненько, осторожно. Тут, наверное, темно. Головой не удариться только. Здесь надо приземляться. Наклонитесь.
I'm not gonna comment much. Just, see for yourself. It's actually people live here. This lady, that's her home. She's taking everyone to her home.
Вода подступает. Вот потепление, и начинает эта вода подступает. Вот это все сыпется. Иногда даже на голову. Не успеваем подметать здесь. Ну, когда дует вот с форточки, я пакет стелю, и все. Ну, это когда ветер именно сразу в лицо, северный.
Another sponsor, Aita.
А так нормально.
Nakaya Aita, thank you so much for joining.
Занималась, тоже отвалился. И вот в таких...
Are you shocked yet? Let me tell you, I was when I was seeing this picture, seeing this footage.
Вот что я заработала, что сижу.
Lady worked all her life. That's how government is paying her back.
Там все очень печально, там ничего не увидеть. Там вода.
This looks like a horror movie.
Ну, на улицу придется с той стороны обойти. Мой правнучек папу провожал, это только фотка здесь. У нас с почестями провожали ребяток. С почестями.
Her son is serving in Donetsk.
Просто.
He was mobilized, and they are so proud that he left to serve in the Russian armed forces. Watching Russian propaganda on TV. Just signed up for different Telegram messages, propaganda messages.
Ну я ж там выросла. до 18 лет и уехала в Ростов учиться. С 3 раз, догадайтесь, за Путина. Я это и не скрываю. Я ему верю. Я ему верю. Ну, может, у него там какие-то неполадки, но это в его окружении, а Путину я верю.
I trust Putin. I trust Putin. And you know what, folks? This is what she is repeating. I trust Putin. I trust Putin. Perhaps others around Putin are not as good, but I trust him. And you know what? I trust her. I trust that she's sincere. I trust it's not a fake video. It's not staged. She's not an actor. She is a regular Russian. Many times people ask me, we want to see Russians. Who are they? Tell us about how much do they make? What do they do when they're older? What their values are. We want to learn more about Russians. And I think it's very important to know Russian people, to learn more about that. Because, it's all about Russian people. It comes down to people. We are the people. And you just saw we are the people. Majority of Russians are like her, living in poverty. I can't even call it this poverty. It's like a horror movie, horror computer game setting, And I believe that it is absolutely true. I believe that, that's sincere and honest picture. It does not come from propaganda. It comes from independent media. So why does she trust Putin? And I'll be honest with you, that's the question I've been asking myself for a long time, and I don't have the answer. I have my theories, but I cannot give you, matter-of-fact answer, so to speak. Most likely because she doesn't know anything else. She was taught to trust General Secretary, Secretary General, President, and so forth since the day she was born. She was born in Ukraine, in Donetsk. She grew up there until when she reached 18, she moved to Rostov, which is 2-hour drive from Donetsk, city where I was born. So she graduated from some kind of school, and she moved eastwards in Russia. And that's where she lives now. And probably she lived all her life in this place. I mean, let's look at it again. Just don't be too afraid,
Головой не удариться только. Здесь надо приземляться.
Let me know, does any one of you live in conditions like that?
Это у нас вход центральный.
This is not often in Russia, okay, but it happens. It happens.
И начинает эта вода подступает. Вот это все сыпется, иногда даже на голову. Не успеваем подметать здесь. Ну, когда дует вот с форточки, я пакет стелю, и все. Ну, это когда ветер именно сразу в лицо, северный. А так нормально. Вот это.
But it's okay. But а так нормально? А так нормально, she says, it's okay.
Турникет был, занималась, тоже отвалился. И вот в таких халупах живем. Просто...
А так нормально, but that's okay. А так нормально, friends, that phrase shocked me. А так нормально, it's okay. But that's okay. What is okay? What I just saw and I showed you is not okay. That's a big question for me. What is okay? It's okay when you don't know anything else. And you watch Russian TV and they tell you very strange things and you believe them. Because you have nothing else. You have no other sources to believe. It's okay when you're conditioned since the day you are born. It's okay when you are part of a system and the system doesn't let you out. How many times did that lady get out of Russia? Just, for vacation. I doubt once. This stream is about election day, the final election day. And I'm gonna be getting to that soon. Now, I have lots of stuff to share and show you. But this lady when I was going through some footage that I saw this morning, and I found it, and I was absolutely shocked, the conditions she lives in. And I was shocked. She says it's okay. To her, it's okay. She's never been probably out of her town for the past, I don't know, decades and decades. She sincerely believes that Putin is good. She sincerely believes that Russia is surrounded by the enemies, by the evil collective West, by the Anglo-Saxons. And then she's probably a good person, you know, but she does not know any better. Moreover, she doesn't know anything else. To her, it's okay. And that's what the majority of Russians are about. To them, it's okay. They either don't know, they're clueless, they have no idea, like, what exists out there besides their lives, or they know, but they prefer not to think about it, okay? That's okay. Anyway, let's get back to elections. This is what I have. Official message from the Central Election Committee. So 55.4% of all Russians visited the voting stations, places, facilities, and voted as of yesterday at 8:24 p.m. 55.4. Now, there have been many talks lately that the state has the goal 80%. Dmitry Peskov, Putin's press secretary, he told us in a plain Russian language very openly that Russia is not a democracy, and Putin already won the elections with over 80% of votes. So Peskov knows a thing or two of how the Russian government works, the inside of it. And what we're seeing right now, the official data coming from the Central Election Committee, proves Peskov 100%. I would say 146%. Now, then from now on, I'll be showing you some things that caught my eye, and let's check them out. Now, this video I showed you yesterday, and this video has part 2, as I found out. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? He's not a policeman, and he is committing a crime in front of your eyes. Look, someone is voting, and some unidentified man in a military uniform with a loaded AK-47 breaks in and he looks who that Russian citizen is voting for, who he's casting his vote for. Look at this. This is a crime. It's punishable crime. It's a felony. There is an article in Russian criminal code for this. Who is this guy with his face covered? And if I crank the volume up, this is what you're gonna hear. Right now, you can hear the members of election committee, local election committee, whispering because they're afraid, don't know who this is. Who is this? And a person is like, this is some kind of security. What security? Who is this? Now, let's continue. The very same guy, as you see. Look what they're doing. Folks, this is absolutely unheard of. They just committed a crime, a very serious crime. They're beating a Russian citizen. They're not members of police force. They are not siloviki. They are identified some kind of security that we don't understand who sent them. Why are they arresting this? You know, a Russian citizen can only be arrested by police. There's clear procedure about that. There's legislation, there's constitution, and there are federal laws that regulate the work of police, how to detain people. Okay? This is not the police. They are committing a crime, a very serious crime. They are restraining the freedom of this man. They're beating him. They're using violence against him. Perhaps they want to kill him. What is this? They're fully armed. And look, the guy on the left, he's got a loaded gun in his hand and he's ready to use it. Right here. Look, the gun is right next to him, and then he picks it up. You know, he's hiding it behind his back, and he's ready to use his gun. Friends, what the hell is this? What is this? Is this the presidential election? I personally have not seen anything like this before. But that is not surprising to me because it was expected. Eruptions of violence, oppression, and so forth, it was expected because this is the craziest time Russia has seen in a very long time. And the craziest time results in craziest things happening, okay? And definitely in the craziest election, presidential election. I'd say if I was just a regular citizen, I'd say that I would go to. I can't even imagine, but hey, let's say I would go to a voting station and I would try to vote, to cast my vote, and I would see something like that happen in front of me. That's arbitrariness, my friends. Arbitrariness, okay, chaos. And when Vladimir Putin was telling us the reasons behind him attacking Russia, attacking Ukraine in February of 2022, he said, we want to increase security and we want to ensure stability of our country. Is this the security, increased security? Is this the stability that you wanted? You know, take another look right here. These men are clearly using excessive force. The guy is hurting. They're torturing him. Look what they're doing. Is this the security? Is this the stability? Now, I think we'll understand what's going on, but Russians who are inside Russia, who are clueless, don't they understand that something is very wrong when they see these pictures? And that happen all around them. I don't know what to tell you. I have a few super chat. Heather, thank you so much. Stephen Walsh. Thank you so much. Huge super chat. I appreciate it very much. Can you explain the difference between a C or a K? I'm not sure what you mean. Steven, without super chat, just let me know what you mean. I don't understand. Derek Martinez, thank you so much. Prayers, your family, countrymen, thank you so much. Prayers are needed and much appreciated. Victor, my nephew, adopted from Russia. Lucky him. Say hello to Victor from us and tell him that he's lucky. He's lucky to a point he doesn't even understand. Lee F., thank you so much for your support. Again, Stephen, please let me know what you mean. It's Constantine or not Constant. Steven, I tell you what, everyone, and Steven, you can call me Constantine with a C or Constantine with a K. It does not matter whatsoever. I go by Constantine, Konstantin. But I guess that's unorthodox spelling of my name. And orthodox is Constantine with a C and with additional E at the end. And that is fine as well. It's just I go by Constantine with a K. So, friends, it doesn't really matter. I lived in the USA for 9 years, and people called me names. It's just unimaginable. They misspelled my name so many times and so badly. I could care less. Thank you, Frank. Good to see you. Thank you, everyone. Dirk. Sorry, I'm so used to saying that name differently. Jeff Morrison. Thank you, Franks. Thank you, Frank, and thank you, friends. Sleepless night. Anyway, let's get back to the elections. Right now is the final day of, how do we call this, a circus? Before I had this thought, I was thinking, oh, it's a mad circus. That's a bunch of clowns. They're just pretending to conduct elections. But you know what? I've changed my opinion. And I think they are elections because there are so many people, so many Russians all over the world. They actually want to change things. They come out and they make themselves, or try to make themselves heard. I showed you yesterday how many people were voting in Prague, and they're not just your typical war supporters. Those people are free, and I'm pretty sure who they voted against. Now I want to show you more. Australia. Now, Australia is an awesome country. I've never been to Australia. I know a couple Australians, good people, great people. But from what I'm seeing about Australia, it's a great country. And I'm going to prove it to you right now. Look, there is voting going on today, or was going on earlier today. And Australia has a large commune of Russian people, well, Australians, but they're descendants of the Russian Cossacks who flew, running away from the commies, and they settled in Australia. Okay, and those people actually continue carrying Russian language, traditions, and I'm not really sure. I don't know much about. They call themselves Cossacks, but they're not. For one simple reason, there aren't any Cossacks anymore left. The Cossacks were all killed, and they dissolved by 1921. Now, their ancestors of these people who were fleeing Russia, running away from communists, they were real true Cossacks. How do I know? My ancestors were Cossacks from Rostov, and Rostov was Starocherkassk, actually, and that was the capital of Don Cossacks. My history goes, on mom's side, goes way back to the Cossacks' time. I had pretty famous members of Cossack community in the 19th century and early 20th century. Guess what happened to them? Commies. They came, they pretty much killed everyone, and those who could leave, they left. And they just went to all parts of the world, and a lot of them went to the USA. I was visiting Ellis Island. Was it Ellis Island? It's an island right next to the Statue of Liberty, where they have an immigration museum, because all big ships would stop there. All would-be immigrants were inspected there. And now is a big museum of immigration to the United States. And I saw Don Cossacks with their horses. They actually made it to New York, okay? So Don Cossacks, they ran to all kinds of distant parts of the world, and some ran to Australia. But you see, the Cossacks ended there. These people calling themselves Cossacks, they're not. A lot of people in Russia calling themselves Cossacks, they're not. I know how Russian Cossacks were born in 1989 in front of my eyes. My friends, I myself were recruited, offered to become Cossacks, and to me, they're not. My ancestors, 100 years ago, they were true Cossacks. I still remember stories of my grandmothers, my grandmother and her sister, who were Cossacks when they were very young. They were born in 1908, 1913. They lived a long life. He hated commies so much, okay? And I remember their stories. They were Cossacks, but not people who live now. But anyway, going back to Australia, there's people calling themselves Cossacks with flags and Russian slogans on their T-shirts and all of that. I'll show you a video. They are standing right here, and I'm going to turn the music off. That's a copyright issue. They are camping in front of, as far as I understand, Russian embassy or Russian consulate. And they are supporting Putin. Obviously, they're supporting war with Ukraine. They're supporting Z. They're supporting, killings of Ukrainians. And they have Russian flags. And then on the other side, there are Russians who are against the war, who are against Putin. Yeah, right there. Who are pro-Navalny, who think that what's happening in Ukraine is basically a bunch of crimes. And then look at the Australian law enforcement. Just look at this. Compare them to these people. Now, this fella right there on the ground, I don't know what his crime is, but most likely he voted against Putin. And them coming in and peeking and seeing that, And now, look at the Australians. They allow people to speak freely. They allow people to wear letter Z on their T-shirts in Australia, right there. Now, this is, in my eyes, is a true democracy. Imagine what would happen if people, well, you don't have to imagine, it happens all the time. When a person in Russia, just one person, gets out in front of a police station or a voting facility or a voting place with a picture of Alexei Navalny, guess what happens? A lengthy prison term happens. That's what happens. Now, these people are allowed to stand with Russian symbols, with Russian flag, with, again, letter Z, right there. And the police is not touching them. The police is not doing anything whatsoever. They're just making sure everyone behaves. In my eyes, this is a model democracy. Does Russia have this right now? The other two sides? Well, this is what Russia has. You know, those Cossacks, so-called Cossacks, they can call whatever they like. You know, I don't really care. Just let me tell you a story how people were recruited to become Cossacks back in 1989. But anyway, these people who call themselves Cossacks, they're lucky. They're lucky that they are in Australia. I don't really understand why, but again, this is just my speculation, and that's none of my business. Just curious, you know, why they don't go to Russia? If they like Russia so much, if they support the war, they're there. They can go and join the Russian armed forces if they so pro-war and stuff like that. That's interesting, right? Now, a little short personal story. Let's go back to 1989. Hang on. Let me tell you a story. The year is 1989, and of course, this is the USSR. Okay, we're back in the USSR, and no Cossacks. The word Cossack did not exist in the USSR. Okay, you would get prison term if you called yourself Cossack because there weren't any Cossacks. So. So Russia, well, the USSR was very, very quickly changing. New things that had been unimaginable before, they started appearing because of glasnost perestroika, okay? Because Gorbachev announced and started implementing the policy that these people in Australia are calling themselves, you know, they're going against it. But they exist, okay, just because Gorbachev allowed them to exist. So anyway, I am about 13 or 14 years old, okay, and there's a huge poster, handwritten, like a big piece of paper saying, at 7 p.m., at our school, in this room, there will be a meeting of Don Cossacks. Everyone is welcome to join, learn, and please join membership of Don Cossacks. And I went, and my friends went, and guess what happened? There was a guy dressed like somewhat like a Cossack. He had a whip. He had a baton. He had Cossack, well, not true Cossack uniform, but something like that, you know. And then he was telling us that Don Cossacks are being reborn, and you know, there are big plans for the Cossacks, and he invited us to join. If we joined right on the spot, and I remember the age to join was 14, he would put us into a register of Don Cossacks. He would give us uniform. He would give us whips. And he would sponsor of us getting together into groups and patrolling with whips and using violence, force. He said, we could whip hooligans with our whips. And he would give us officer rank, like Harunji or Padharunji, something like that. That's a specific Cossack term. And we laughed. And people were telling this guy, who do you think you are? You Cossack? You like a lot of us are descendants of real Cossacks. You telling it to us? So, and we all left and we laughed. But one of our, people who came with us, he stayed and he signed up and he became a Cossack. He was given uniform, he was given whip, he was given a baton, and he became so important all of a sudden, and that's how Don Cossacks were born in 1989, courtesy of Mikhail Gorbachev, okay? Courtesy of democracy, because before, if you announced you were a Cossack, you would be put in jail in the USSR, okay? And I don't understand. These people in Australia, they're standing and they're protesting the very same thing that allowed them to become what they are. Anyway. This is the same place. This is Australia. Letter Z. Letter Z among Russians who have fled Russia is not a good sign. It's not a good symbol. It's a very sinister thing. Okay, we don't like death. We like peace. A lot of us, most of us, are Christians, and it really hurts me to see that people are proud of actually presenting it openly. Australian Cossack, I guess. I don't really. Another question I have is, okay, this fella is with a flag, and person on the flag appears to be Jesus Christ. My question is, does he mean what he's doing, or he's uninformed? Perhaps he's pretending. Does he know that Russian Orthodox Church christens ballistic missiles? Sanctifies them. Do you know that Russian priests, Orthodox priests, hang on. Orthodox priests get fired for praying for peace. Does he know that? As far as I know, Jesus Christ, I believe in. He was against death. He was against murders, and he was about love. Is what Russia doing in Ukraine about love? I wish this fellow could explain, what does he mean by having the flag with Jesus Christ on it? Does he know that the Russian Orthodox Church started making icons where, in place of the face of Jesus Christ, they have tanks, and they sell them now? Okay. And perhaps this guy means well, Perhaps he's misinformed. I really would like to know that. Steven, how's the weather in Tashkent and the food? Hungry. Steven, weather in Tashkent is summer-like in Russia. It's about 72 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Celsius. Food is, actually, it's great. I'm just so used to it. I don't notice how great food is. Pilaf and Uzbek dishes. Tashkent is a very international city. You can find anything here. And of course, Uzbek is the fundamental of local cuisine is fundamental of, restaurants and food industry. But you can find anything. You can find Georgian, Armenian, Russian, Jewish, European, German, tons of burger joints, and fantastic. Again, thank you, Steven. Thank you so much for helping out a great deal. It's today. Vast majority of Aussies strongly support Ukraine. We despise bullying dictators. You know what? As far as I understand, you're Australian. It's today. Well, I tell you what, you people are absolutely awesome because you allowed to do what I just showed. You allow people to have their opinions, even though these opinions are, I don't know how to call them, right? Horrendous would be the right word, but still they're allowed to have their opinions. That is the democracy for me. This is why I fell in love with the USA. Just you know what? Keep it that way. Keep it this way. Keep it this way for as long as you can. Don't let it get ruined, because that's what life should be. Okay. Jake Allen, thank you so much. Australia is in the house as well. Jekyll, you know, I want to tell you that Australia is officially awesome in my eyes after watching that video, after watching how the law enforcement, your law enforcement officers handle Z people. Russian law enforcements handle against Z people in a very different manner. Thank you very much for sponsoring 5 people. And Steven, I see another super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. In another one, we watched old movies. High and Mighty, John Wayne. 30 gallons of fuel. Thank you so much. Item 69, you're very kind to Australia, but we still don't have tasty period here. God forbid you do. Tell you what, stick with McDonald's. It's not far from the best food in the world, but McDonald's beats tasty period anytime. Mati Mela, thank you so very much for your support. Thank you, friends. And again, Stephen Walsh, thank you. I really appreciate your support. Much needed and much appreciated. Okay. A little off topic. The next part of my stream, I'm thinking of showing you what is happening in large cities all over the world where Russian embassies are, and how many Russians are actually voting right now, including Tashkent, the city where I live. Alright, just let me jump straight to that. It's gonna take me a little bit. Please bear with me. So this is South Korea.
Всем привет, друзья! Видео специально для Rus News. Вещаю из Южной Кореи, Сеул. Южная Корея, Сеул.
South Korea, Seoul.
Федерации.
The Embassy of Russian Federation. People gather at noon to show support with Navalny, to show their support to Navalny's cause, to show
Не, на 11:45 вроде было человек 100. Через 15 минут, вот, ну, полдень неизбежен.
Says that 11:45 there were about 100 people, and as soon as noon came, thousands.
Полкилометра. Да, я тоже пока затрудняюсь сказать, сколько человек. Ну, наверное, человек 500 так на вскидку.
He's just estimating 500 people incoming. So this is these are the Russians I'm proud of. Someone's putting thumbs down. Well, that's okay. On this channel, all opinions are welcome, and you're not going to be deleted just for having an opinion opposite from mine. But if you have an opinion, please be kind to explain it. So this was South Korea. Hang on. Kazakhstan.
Если не забивают данные.
Kazakhstan is a member of a military union with Russia, but it's far from friendly to Russia. My estimation, there are more people in Kazakhstan than in South Korea, in Seoul. There are more Russians there, definitely. Kazakhstan is probably number one location where Russian emigres, refugees, runaways fled to, because that was the easiest location. Border between Russia and Kazakhstan is huge, and it was the easiest place to cross the border. And Kazakhstan is far from friendly. So, what's next? Okay, so far, hang on. I'm looking at the news feeds live. That's why I have pauses sometimes. Let me show you Tashkent. And it is something that I witnessed. Yes. This is Tashkent. And some people I know. there were 40,000 people or so that fled from Russia to Uzbekistan, and most of us live in Tashkent. And this is the proof. There are quite a few of us. There are quite a few of us. Believe it or not, but I see familiar faces, just two. I slowed it down before I started the stream. These are my comrades. These are people that I meet on the streets of the city. These are people who I break bread with. These are people who are decent, who are against the war. These are families. These are the ones who give me hope for Russia. There's Yerevan. I want to show you Armenia. Now, let me see what's going on in the chat. Berend to win, thank you so much. Danke schön. A lot of rules in this chat. Mark Marshall, please forgive me. We've done this before without rules or with fewer rules, and trust me, so many bots run in and it becomes chaos. Okay, it becomes not very nice place to converse with people. The rules are actually quite simple. Speak English, write in English, be civil, be normal, respect other people and their opinions, and that's pretty much it. Stephen Walsh, thank you again. Great people is a lesson about ourselves. Thank you. PL, really hard to argue with you. Fast Sky, Navalny was half Ukrainian. You know how many of us, half Ukrainian, half Lithuanian, half Estonian, half Russian, half Mongolian, half, Russia is a place where nations get tied into knot, so to speak. KZK 40 something past noon and suddenly huge lines anywhere. Well, there is an event going on just about now in Russia, Moscow time. It's called Noon Against Putin, and those who do not support him, they are asked to show up at voting places at noon and vote. And that's what you're seeing. These huge crowds, they have a meaning behind them. Netherlands is in the house. Marts, thank you. Wow, Marinos, good to see you. Geezermon. Frank in Texas. Sorry I could not resist last night. Instead of going to bed, I stayed and I made a video. No U.S. politics, please. Please, please, listen to Frank. No U.S. politics. Folks, I'm talking about Russia. I'm talking about what's happening inside Russia. I'm not an expert on U.S. politics. And the Americans tend to fight a lot over their own politics. Do that someplace else, okay? Not on the inside Russia. Let's talk about Russia, about Russian election, about Russian people. Dirk, thank you so much. I think you're doing a great job. Adnan, what will happen immediately after elections or no significant change? Huge changes after elections. Huge. You have no idea. They have started happening. They didn't even wait until the elections are over. They started devaluing ruble on Friday. Euro is trading, well, you can't really call it trading, but officially it's still trading at 101. That's significantly lower for ruble than before. And you will see so many fundamental changes in Russia. I can guarantee you will see changes in the economy. Russian ruble will be devalued. I don't know the rate at which it'll be devalued, but I know the target, from 120 to 130 rubles by the end of summer. You will see shortages of gasoline. You will see prices rising like crazy, starting, my bet, tomorrow, okay, but perhaps they'll wait for a week or so. You will see a completely different rhetoric of the state toward people, much harsher, a lot less leniency, and you will see a great deal of changes inside Russian government. I'm going to be making very soon, next week, I'm going to be making a stream where I will explain in details what will be happening in Russia very soon. And I want everyone to take out their pens and pieces of paper and write my words down. And then have me answer my words later on. I will do that myself. I will make a stream comparing whether I was wrong or right, but I want you to do that also, because I stick by my words. LMS Osmad, if you ever wish to move to Australia, let me know. I'm an Australian migration agent. I have some ideas for you. LMS, please email me. Email is, if you go to the About section, you will find my email there. Because the clouds are thickening above my head, and obviously many people think that I talk too much, and I talk to not very right good things about Russia, okay? Unnecessary things I bring to your attention and stuff like that. So I might be ending up in prison in Russia, dead, or in base case scenario somewhere else, okay? Some place far away. But so drop me a line. Sam K, is Mr. P is the super mutant or the institute? Sam K, I know you're a legend, but what is that? Tina, Konstantin, don't you have the possibility to go for voting? Tina, I do, and trust me, I did the right thing, and I'm not going to tell you what I did. That's private, but I do. And I did well. Let's put it this way. Thank you, LMS. I am Max. Cheers. I'm drinking English breakfast tea. The best tea in the world. I love it so much. I tried other teas. Nothing beats English breakfast. I drink it Straight, no sugar, no milk, no lemon, nothing. Liquid goodness. Some K there, baddies in the Fallout 4 video game. I have not played Fallout 4. I don't know if he's. I think he's both. Laura H, thank you for your support. Thank you very much. And Steven, again, thank you. How do you call a fisherman pole? I don't know. Удочка. David L, thank you so very much. I appreciate your words and I appreciate the financial support. Galaxy Rider, still wish we could retire in Crimea. Crimea is a place where a little bit of my heart is in Crimea. Well, I've said many times, albeit not recently. My dad was born and raised in Crimea. He spent first 16 years in Crimea, and I still have relatives there. They also were born and raised, and they still live in Crimea. And in the USSR, they lived there. In Ukraine, they lived there. Now, when Russia annexed it, they're still living there. I went to Ukraine many times. In Crimea, I went when Crimea was annexed. I even vacated there once. I'm not very proud of that, let me tell you now. But to me, it was never about countries, it was about the place. That's where I went when I was a first grader. My dad took me. In our home, we had legends about Crimea. Dad would tell me stories when I was falling asleep in bed, bedtime stories about his childhood, how wonderful Crimea is, and so forth. So I could say that too. I wish I could spend time in Crimea. You know that if you drive from Yalta towards Sevastopol, you have sea on one side, you have mountains on the other side, very tall mountains. And it's like driving on Highway 1 in California from Los Angeles to San Francisco, you know. It's absolutely gorgeous view, and it's one of my most favorite places. Chris, do you believe there's going to be mobilization in the coming weeks? Yes, I do. Brother Randall, thank you so much. Mom is fine. Stitches are off. She's happy. She's energetic, you know. She thinks of it as adventure. She was pretty scared when it happened, but now she's much better. So, no consequences. Thank you. Keith, too many things kill you in Australia. Move to Nova Scotia, Canada. I lived right next to Nova Scotia in Maine for 9 years. I know the place. Nova Scotia is even colder than Maine. But I really love the rugged nature of that area. You know, there's granite rocks, huge rocks, and the ocean, so mighty powerful, North Atlantic, you know. I miss that place. Wasn't Rostov originally part of Ukraine? Cox Johnson, as far as I know, no. It was part of a... It was founded around 300 years ago, a little less than that, as a customs house. Because a lot of trade was happening between the world and Russia, and the ships were coming up to Russia from the Black Sea, Sea of Azov, and then on Don River. And Rostov was founded as a fortress, okay, to control the trade flow. And it was founded where the Don inflows into the Sea of Azov. Okay, very convenient location where the delta of the river starts. But as far as I understand, and I know, and I think I know history quite well, no, it was never part of Ukraine. Right next to Ukraine, though. I never considered places like Donetsk, Lugansk, and they were just cities right next door, okay? In the USSR, it was one country. Obviously, we didn't have any boundaries, so it's just the same. It's like Maine and New Hampshire. And then we became different countries. They still spoke our language. They were the same as us. Same, absolutely same. Only it was a different country. And then they started drifting apart, and which was absolutely fine to us. We were busy with living in Russia and doing things in Russia and trying to improve Russia, okay? And Ukraine was completely different to us, to people. Well, somebody else didn't think so, okay? And we know who that is. Lorga, howdy friend. The snake guy. Yes, we actually have a member of Tashkent Breakfast Club with us from Portugal. Good to see you. We still, talk about you sometimes, about your passion with snakes, because a lot of people don't like snakes. And then when we talk about how you were telling us how you, take care of snakes, everyone is just cringes in fear. David Moore, howdy. Nostro 2, shoot Kaliningrad, go back to historic owners. Waking it up with Putin logic, it should be immediately German again. Königsberg, not German. To clarifying it, I'm from Poland. What I would like to do? I would like to see that everyone plays by the rules. Once we set the borders, let's not touch them. Kaliningrad used to be Königsberg, and I don't know what happened back then. They seized, annexed Königsberg and made it a Russian city. Whether they were right or not, I never gave it much of a thought. Okay, I grew up understanding that Kaliningrad is a part of the USSR. That's it. Now, I would like it to stay that way as long as Russia stays within its borders, and Germany stays within its borders, and Poland, and everyone else, okay, and respects other borders. And if Germany has a problem with Königsberg, what I would find, acceptable, they would come out and put the cards on the table and would propose to negotiate and discuss things in a civil matter, how it should be done in the 21st century. I don't have a problem with that. Russia has disputes with Japan. The Kurilsky Ostrova, the Kuril Islands. Russia has dispute with China over an island in the river of Amur on the border. And, does it mean that the Japanese must seize the islands, or the Chinese or Russia must seize something it considers its? I don't think so. I think this is terrible. This is what happened, We need to go back to common sense, normalcy, and decency again. Okay, that is the only way how we can get along with each other and prosper and be stable. And I think you folks, I'm telling it to wrong people, because you are for that, and you exactly on my page, so to speak. So it's some rogue politicians acting, just destroying the world order that should prevail, destroying the rules of the game. How can we coexist without rules of the game? Can we coexist without respect to each other? Wars. Who want wars? Steven, thank you so much. Exactly, I always hated fishing, but then there was this monster cab. The fish was going to drag me in. I would have to tread water. Wow, must have been big carp. Laura H again, thank you so much. David L, Steven, thank you, Steven. You are the super chat champion of today's stream. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Much needed and very appreciated. Ken BF65, thank you so much. Sorry if you already told, but who do they vote for to protest against Putin? It's complicated. I have not told that. I haven't gotten that part yet, but actually there's no choice. There are 3 candidates besides Putin, and they are bit parts. Okay, that's who they are. Actors, clowns, perhaps, I don't know. Call them whatever you like. They are there to bring legitimacy to the presidential election. No more, no less. None of them wants to win the election. One of the guys started laughing when asked, "Are you planning on winning?" He said, "I'm not crazy." No matter who you vote for is not a good choice for Russia. At least the way I see it. Some Russians, of course, might have different opinion, but the way I see it, none of those people on the list are good Russian future. What you can do is you can take your ballot, bring it back with you. You can not vote. You can destroy your ballot. I'm not sure how legal that is from the point of view of Russian law, but I'm a citizen. You know, I have a right to vote, or I have a right not to vote. I have a right to take my ballot and do whatever I please with it, right? That's basically what they're doing. They're showing that they are against all the candidates. And I think that's the most optimal way. SC Junk, yes, Cossack in the USSR was complex because many Cossacks opposed the USSR in May of 1945. Cossack units fighting against the USSR were disarmed by the British Army and Polish Anders Army in Italy. Well, let me tell you a thing or two. Again, my family, all my family on my mom's side are Cossacks in the past. My great-grandfather was a leader of Cossacks at his village right next to Rostov. But the village is very ancient history, and it was there for centuries before Rostov was even founded. So he was the leader of the village, Cossack leader, and his official title was Ataman. And the first thing that communists did when they took over, there was a resistance in right after the Bolshevik Revolution, and of course my ancestor resisted. He was one of the resistance leaders. He was under command of General Krasnov, and they remained for quite some time in Rostov independent. They were called the Whites. The communists were the Reds, and my ancestors were the Whites. And the communists ended up pushing them away. Most Cossacks went south to Crimea and then left Crimea. Many were killed there, and some escaped by ships. My ancestors stayed, and communists came in and basically they arrested him instead of killing. He also knew how to. He was veterinary, is an animal doctor. So they sent him to Khabarovsk. Was it Khabarovsk or Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsk? Anyway, the city far, far east into exile. And they basically kicked his family onto the street. They were rich. They were kicked onto the street in just the clothes that was on them. And that's it. They had some jewelry, 3 girls, 1 woman, my great-grandmother, and whatchamacallit, her 3 daughters. Then there were little ones, like 10 years old, 11 years old, and they were traveling for almost a year through entire Russia, and then they were beggars, begging for money. At first, they had like fur mink overcoats, and they were just cutting mink off and exchanging it for bread. Ran out of mink. I think it didn't take for too long. And then they started selling their rings and their earrings. My great-grandmother sold her wedding ring. Basically didn't sell, but exchanged for bread. And they made it there. After about 10 years, they returned to Rostov. They remained poor all their lives. They had a label on them that they were the enemies of the state, враги народа, because they were Cossack. And until the day they died, both my grandmothers, well, one was my grandmother and then another one was her sister, but they were very close. They hated communists. They hated. I didn't understand because I was brainwashed. I was growing up, in a communist society. But I loved my grandmothers more than I, much more than I liked communists and the state, the Soviet Union. And I wanted to understand since the age of 4 why. I understand now, and I understood very, very soon back then. Keith from Hawaii, thank you so much for coming. Let's go back to the elections. Stephen Walsh, again, thank you. Poop on the ballot, smear it down ballot. Well, that's probably what this fella did. And let me tell you what happened to him. Let me show you again. My gosh, how brutal they are. They have no clue how to detain a person. What did he do so bad? Did he threaten anyone's life or what? Anyway, probably, Steven, he probably did what you just wrote in your super chat. Diane Ballard, welcome to Inside Russia, new sponsor. Thank you so much. You should get a Cossack mohawk. Me, Ryle, and Jim, I'm not a Cossack. I've never been a Cossack. I was born a Soviet boy. I don't like to pretend I am a Cossack. Although I have ancestry, my many generations of my ancestors were Cossacks, and I'm not. My parents were born not Cossacks. They were not raised because you're a Cossack. It's a way of life. From what my grandmothers were telling me, you're born and you're raised being a Cossack. You cannot just snap your finger and say, I'm a Cossack now. No. It passes from generation to generation, and all Cossacks were exterminated. So I'm not. I don't want to pretend who I'm not. I don't want to do a mohawk. I don't want to say I'm a Cossack. No, I'm not. And these people, the new Cossacks, they're... Tell you what, if my grandmothers looked at them and they were alive, one passed away in 2000, another passed away in 1987, I believe. If they looked at this new Cossack, I think they would be laughing hysterically. Diane Bollard, thank you so much. Very interesting, my dear Kay. This sweet lady is not the exception to the case. Years in Russia, I was in many such homes and villages. Ask over Russia. The living conditions of so many are just like hers said. Diane, honestly, I've never been to a place like that. I've seen places that looked similar from outside, but with water and old mattress placed so you get over water. I've never seen anything like that. Check this out again. Oh, I apologize. This is not it.
Вот теперь давайте, только не пугайтесь сильно. И осторожненько, осторожно. Тут, наверное, темно. Головой не удариться только. Здесь надо приземляться.
You have to
Наклонитесь.
bend over to actually, you like crawl in.
Это у нас вход центральный.
This is water.
Это уже мы
And it's
ковёр,
always
вода
there.
подступает. Вот потепление, и начинает эта вода подступает. Вот это все сыпется, иногда даже на голову. Не успеваем подметать здесь. Ну, когда дует вот с форточки, я пакет стелю, и все. Ну, это когда ветер именно сразу в лицо, северный.
Northern wind is blowing. She
А
puts
так
a
нормально.
cover up on it.
Вот это у меня турникет был, занималась, тоже отвалился.
I've been to villages. People live mostly in villages in their own houses. They're small, they're tiny, they're far from fancy, but they're not as bad as this stuff. But I believe you. I believe you. I have not traveled so much over rural Russia. Just, my uncle, my relatives, here and there, so to speak. I'm a city boy. I was born in a city. I grew up in a city, and I like living in the cities. Cox Johnson, are there still real Tatars left in Russia? Oh, yeah, plenty. There's a Tatar Republic, Tatarstan. The real Tatar people. Millions of them. Mold in there must be scary. Absolutely. VJ John, howdy. I don't really imagine myself, but that's true. My ancestors were Don Cossacks. They lived in Starocherkassk. Zaporizhia Cossacks were a different chapter, let's put it this way. And they were older. They have more history than Don Cossacks. The Cossacks really originated in Ukraine, in Zaporizhia. And I've been to Khortytsa Island because I used to supervise one of the manufacturing plants in Ukraine a long time ago, 20 years ago. And I was, the first thing when you travel there, the locals want to show you the sides of the Zaporizhia, and one of it is Zaporozhskaya GAS, or Zaporozhskaya GAS, and the hydropower plant. And this Dnepro River is so mighty powerful river, and there's a big island, Khortytsa, and that's where the Cossack movement was born. So enough with questions now. I would like to show you. Hang on. I would like to show you more footage about the elections. So what's going on? So let's look at Yerevan. You see that line right there? The good Russians are doing the good thing. You know, that looking at this and then seeing the Russians line up to go and vote kind of brings me hope back for Russia. Because at times sometimes I lose hope. Okay, but for me, this is a turning moment. I understand there are so many people out there who don't support, who are just like me, who are vocal, who try to stand up and make themselves heard. And this is good. Okay. The next is what do I have here? Phuket, Thailand. That's another place where tons of Russians went to. Hang on. I'll show you Phuket. There you go. Same as other cities where there are embassies and consulates. Long lines. Phuket is another place where lots of Russians went to. There are lots of Ukrainians there and Russians, and they coexist peacefully. So what else is going on? Now, I haven't looked at the feeds for quite some time. And my fella Breakfast Club members are sending me directly into my mailbox. They're sending me footage they're just shooting here in Tashkent, not too far from me. Hang on. Folks, I'm doing this live. I'm watching for different feeds coming in, so I make pauses. Please bear with me. It's really difficult to handle everything simultaneously while it's not just I am live, but things are happening live around me, and I try to keep monitoring them. This is it. So, check out Tashkent. I'm pretty darn proud of it. Steven, you were asking me what weather is like in Tashkent right now. This is what it is.
Вот такая вот очередь на голосование в Ташкенте. Полдень против Путина. Всем большое спасибо.
Oops. Hang on. Now, what I'm looking for today is that let me drink some of this wonderful English breakfast tea. Tony G from Sweden, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate very much. And Stephen Walsh, Uzbek Mustangs, fantastic, thank you. Look, let me take a little pause and 30 seconds. After, I'm gonna monitor what's happening in terms of violence erupting against Russians, how the Siloviki are conducting themselves right now, because from what I understand, from what all different information was coming from, all Siloviki in Russia are on highest alert right now. All are given special instructions. Some are secret, some have been leaked. Okay, and if acts of violence erupt in Russia, then they were gonna shut down internet, YouTube, Telegram, so people don't communicate with each other. Now, before I jump there, because this is happening live, so you understand. Right now, it's 1:20 p.m. in Moscow on Sunday. This is the election day, the final one. Now, there are so many news I encounter every single day, and a lot of them are minor, small, not worthy attention, and I just, I know them, but I don't share with anyone. There are quite a few news that are important, and I want to share them with everyone. But I'm limited in time. In my videos, I can only do one news, one live stream, one analytical material per day. But there are so many other news, and I feel like you're missing out not seeing them, because if you did, you would understand Russia more. So I've decided to change the way I work a little bit. I keep on doing YouTube the way I've been doing. Nothing changes. On top of that, I've started adding 9 news per day into Patreon and sponsor. Why Patreon and sponsor? Because it's taking so much of my time that compensation just, that gives me enough money to get by, to, feed my family and to do some other causes that I really don't talk about online. Quite some time ago, I made a decision to take the earnings from YouTube and divide them into 2 piles of money. One stays for me. I feed my family, and, I buy equipment. This is the only project that is feeding us right now. Second pile of money, I spend helping others. And that pile of money is spent on different people, on different countries, and things like that. If I up the workload of the intensity of my work, it'd be nice to get compensated. That's why I put this news into Patreon and sponsor sections of YouTube and Patreon, respectively. So if you want to receive 9 news per day from me, so far it's 3 news in the morning. The news that I find important, the news I want to share to reach you, so to speak. Sign up for Patreon, sign up for sponsorship. It's not much. It's, the lowest tier starts, I think it's $3 per month. you will find quality news, quality material will help to understand Russia better. I've committed, so I'm going to be doing it 9 news per day, 3 by 3 in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night. Perhaps I'll switch to a different format, 4 and 4 or 4 and 5. 1 in the morning, 1 at night. I don't know. I'm still experimenting, but I would like you to be aware what I've started, and I hope it takes off, and I hope that more and more people will be watching it. And feedback so far that I've gotten is very positive. I've been doing it for 4 days now, and people seem to like it. So if you have not subscribed to Patreon, to sponsorship section here on YouTube, do so. Not expensive, but it'll give you access to lots of good news. And I think that we are standing at the crossroad right now. Tomorrow, Russia will be changed. It's not going to be the same, because tomorrow the elections are over. Putin will be announced a new old president, and things will start changing. The wheels will start turning. They've been sugarcoating the economy. They've been sugarcoating the news, sugarcoating, everything in Russia. But there's no need anymore. There's no need to sugarcoat. The elections are over, and there's no resources to sugarcoat. Money, they're out of money. They're out of gas. They're out of oil refineries. They're out of everything. So we will start seeing changes. And boy, I think the amount of the news will double, if not triple. So consider becoming a patron and signing up for sponsorship, so you get access to the news the way I see them, the way I explain them, and the way I find them important. So enough of a break. Martin, if you swing by to Tashkent, I would love to host you. Please come. If we talk enough, I'm pretty sure that we'll come up with people, our mutual acquaintances from the energy business, Anyway, go back to the elections. Now I am planning on taking a few seconds and start seeing the news feeds coming in. What is happening in different cities of Russia, and okay, I have comments that I'm gonna read you. Now, in order to vote, Russians all over the world come and form huge lines, and sometimes they wait 2 to 3 hours in lines. Let me quote one of the voters, Russian voters from Kazakhstan. Very nice and friendly here. Everyone understands that all have come here to vote, and we all can feel it. There are plenty of children, and children are being explained what's going on. For example, we overheard the conversation of a man with his son. So, Daddy, why there are so many people? And then he replied, because all these people do not like Putin. And this little girl started running around and screaming against Putin. That's Almaty, Kazakhstan. Now, Shanghai, China, 12:30, which is 30 minutes after noon, there were lots of people. We had to stand in line for 40 minutes. People came despite the rain, and many came with little children. Another comment, I'm not sure where it came from. This is so uplifting. In this company, we would like to scream, Russia will be free. Oh, that's Kazakhstan. But due to respect to Kazakhstan, we're not doing that. We are feeling the awakening of the civil society and the changes coming. And this is, as I'm reading this, this is, I'm being uplifted myself. Wow. I have more pictures of people voting. But they're pretty much the same, the huge lines, just different cities in the world where Russian embassies are. I'm looking for one in New York, but I haven't found it yet. Another one from Kazakhstan. Dubai. Many Russians came in Dubai. Already saw Phuket. Istanbul. Tons of Russians. There's a huge line. Hundreds and hundreds of people, perhaps thousands. Tokyo, Japan. Quite a few Russians. You know what? Our people betrayed us. They chewed us up and spat us out in September of 2022. But we have not died. We're still alive. We have survived. And you know what? We are standing up and we are getting stronger. And this is us. We're standing in line all over the world. And this is us, my friends. This is us. We're striking back. We have not forgotten. We have not forgiven. I relate to every single person who is in line right now all over the world. They are my people. I am one of them. And they are a part of me. Okay, despite they're in different countries, we're absolutely in the same shoes. If you follow my channel for long enough, you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so now let's get to... Mark Marshall, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Stephen Walsh, thank you again. All right. So far, the reports are coming in that there are lines of Russians to vote all over the world. I have not seen any... Okay, this is the summary. In Russia, at noon, there were big lines in Chelyabinsk, Novosibirsk, Perm, Yekaterinburg, Omsk, Tomsk, Moscow, St. Petersburg. That is coming from Boris Nadezhdin. He was one of the potential candidates to run for the presidency of Russia. He was shut down illegally by the Central Election Committee. Well, they think it's legally, but he was shut down unfairly. Now, Kazan, someone asked me about Tatar people. That's the capital of Tatar Republic, Tatarstan. In Kazan, the policemen did not allow the youth, young people, at the local university. And they were blocking the way and were asking them to come back in 2 to 3 hours. And the same situation was reported from other places in Kazan. So basically the policemen there were trying to put up challenges for people, difficulties, so they wouldn't show up voting at noon. Again, voting at noon is a symbol. of resistance in Russia. The news coming from Novosibirsk. The mayorate of Novosibirsk was reporting about a large crowd, and it was forced to increase security measures because of that. Also, the security measures have been increased in Yekaterinburg. That's another large city in Siberia, in the east of Russia. There are cities, for example, Irkutsk and Tomsk, where the local authorities are organizing little fairs, like made-up fairs, and they feed people with free food, give free vodka to attract people. So it's difficult to understand who came to vote and who came just for free food. They're trying to dilute the voters, okay? So far, hasn't been any violence. Perhaps just like, in some spots, but that's nothing mass. Chechnya, the Central Election Committee of Chechnya, one of the republics of Russian Federation, reported that last night 90.78% of Russians who live in Chechnya voted. 90.78. Another republic of Tuva reported 87.15. I've never heard of numbers like that. At best, at the best years, Russians from 50 to 60% would come out and vote. But not this year. This year is special. Oh boy, no. 90, 87%. Holy moly. Okay. Reports coming in from all over Russia, big cities, small towns, large towns. A lot of people came out to vote around noon. And folks, this is it. This is it. You got to understand. You ask me a lot. How many Russians do you think support Putin, support the war, and how many don't? Well, right now we're seeing a lot of those who do not support. They exist. They're not scared enough not to come out and vote at this particular time. They know that they're under high risk. There's a possibility of them being arrested and all, but they still come out. They're coming out right now, and they're voting right now. They're showing that there are people who disagree, who oppose, and who are ready to act. They're still a minority, though. I'm looking at the lines of hundreds of people, perhaps thousands at best. But how many people vote in reality in Russia? Tens and hundreds of thousands. Where are they? Came, voted, went back home. The reports are true. The majority still supports. But the minority is there. It exists. It is active. It opposes. It thinks critically. There are people, there are many, many people in Russia who are still human beings, who have their hearts still left. who have empathy for others in their hearts, who have love, feelings. Okay. More reports. If nothing extreme is happening, will be happening soon, then I'm gonna wrap it up and I will make a regular stream at night in a few hours, and I will give you my take on the elections in Russia, because by the time I will be streaming, the elections will be over. Huh?
Когда наши, да, там, наши с людьми общаются. И первое, спрашивают, что в первую очередь? В первую очередь хлеб, не хватает хлеба. Во вторую, дайте возможность проголосовать.
Holy be Jesus.
Это удивительно.
Wow, look at this. I'm gonna show you something interesting. And I'll have to translate Russian for you. Hang on. You will find this. You will find this interesting.
Освобожденные Авдеевки. Приехали, когда наши, да, там, наши с людьми общаются. И первое, спрашивают, что в первую очередь?
So, this is Ella Pamfilova. She is the head of Russia's Central Election Committee. She is the old-timer. I remember she was a politician or aspiring politician back in early 90s when the USSR fell apart and Russia was still young. And believe it or not, but she was all right. She was arguing for democracy. I recently watched an interview that she gave back in 1995, and boy, was she against the government. Somehow, let's fast forward 30 years. 30 years later, she was doing everything that she was against in 1995. So that's Ella Pamfilova for you. She is Putin's trusted person. She's in charge of the election process. I think that tells you a lot. Anyway, she is saying that we came to that Ukraine, that part of Ukraine that we just liberated. Avdiivka, I know people like surroundings, and our members of the Central Election Committee came so people could vote.
В первую очередь хлеб, не хватает хлеба. Во вторую, дайте возможность проголосовать.
So she is one of the top officials in Russia, and she is saying that officially that there people want two things. First, they want bread because they're starving and there's not enough bread. And the second, they want to vote. What the fudge? Ukraine never had hunger. People, it was unheard of. And now people want bread there. Bread. So she just basically admitted the crimes that Russia is committing in Ukraine.
Это удивительно. Это удивительно.
This is like a miracle. Yes, no kidding. It is. Again.
И первое, спрашивают, что в
they're
первую
asking for
очередь?
bread.
В первую очередь хлеб, не хватает
Not enough
хлеба. Во
bread
вторую,
there.
дайте возможность проголосовать.
Give us an opportunity to vote. Now, the part about the bread, the first part, I actually believe her. What a tragedy is brought to peaceful people. They meant their own business. They had their own lives, okay? They didn't bother anyone. And now, 2 years later, they want bread. Because they don't have enough bread. All right, so there are more lines. The information coming in from different sources, tons of pictures, tons of videos about lines. But police is not arresting anyone, as far as I understand. Police is letting people stand in line and vote. Bishkek, that's another capital of another country, Kyrgyzstan. That's where a lot of Russians flew to. Also, there's a line, again, I already said about Dubai. There's different footage coming from Dubai. Chelyabinsk, Almaty. Okay. I don't know what to tell you, folks. This is another official information from Russian Central Election Committee. And let me give you the numbers. So you see for yourself. So this is official information from the Central Election Committee, and you see this letter V stands for Vybory, for elections, but that's not really what it stands for. It stands for a different thing. We all know what. This is the preliminary results as of 9:45 a.m., 17th of March, which is today. So as of this morning, as of 9:45 a.m., Moscow time, 61.37% of Russian population voted. 61.37%. I don't believe this number. I do not believe this number. Let's see what else is interesting. So far, internet is working. YouTube is working. Telegram is working. Ooh, wait a second. Here we go. Here we go, folks. Kazan, the capital of Tatarstan, they started detaining people. 20 people have been detained. One person is reporting. This is what they're doing, in Kazan at least. They detain people. They put them into large cars, special cars for the detainees. They keep them there for a while, and they drive them to a different part of town, and they release them. without any fines, without any documents given confirming that they were detained. So without any charges pressed, and they detained without any reason. So that's Kazan. Lines all over Moscow. You know what? It's decided. I'm making 2 streams. One stream tonight is the results of the election days. And the second stream probably tomorrow. What to expect in Russia after Putin's elections? A lot to expect. Okay. Israel is reporting. There are quite a few people standing there. Lithuania reporting. There are about 300 people right next to a Russian embassy. The voting against Putin in the Urals as well. Okay. At Chisnau, Moldova, Kishinev, someone threw a Molotov cocktail into the embassy of Russia. And then he was detained. That's the fresh news, just came in. There's a huge time difference in Russia between Moscow and the Far East. I think it's 9 hours. So, and in the Far East, the elections are over. Okay, let me just check a couple more sources and we'll see what we do. There was an accident in Yerevan, the capital of Armenia. The local policemen blocked a group of political activists with loudspeakers, and Ukrainian flags. And group wasn't big; it was about 30 people or so, and they were heading toward Russian embassy with Ukrainian flags. So the policemen have blocked them. This is the latest. You want to see something funny? Let me show you a picture. I'm gonna show you someone. Huh? How do you like this picture? Do you know who this is? Take a good look and I'll scan through comments. That's much worse than Putin's clone. I don't know. If you're talking, there's two people. One of them is actually real Putin. No, that's not the guy on the right. That's the guy on the left, real Putin. That's Putin before he became the president of Russia. But he's not the point of interest, the person of interest in this picture. The other guys, do you know who he is? No, that's not Khodorkovsky. No, that's, no, not young Boris Nemtsov. Boris Nemtsov had curly hair. Curly hair, no. Curly hair, I'm sorry. Anyone? Tesla New Zealand, thank you so much. Good to see you, friend. Reminds me of a 50-year celebration in GDR 1989. Russian bootleg of Harry Potter? No, not Medvedev. Not Russian bootleg of Harry Potter, no. Not Medvedev. No, not Medvedev. Not Peskov. No. I wonder if anyone guesses. Back in Talkwords. I know. Sorry, Terry. Give me credit, please. You know, Sleepless Night and Second Language. Sobchak. No. Sobchak was much older than that. Putin's boss. No, Putin is the boss of this man now. Medinsky. Well, kind of looks like Medinsky, but no. Steve Jobs, I wish. Anatoly Sobchak. Nope. That's the oligarch who is exiled. Khodorkovsky. No, that's not him. Lorna is here. Lorna, howdy. Fantastic to see you. Steph, hello from Bulgaria. Hello to Bulgaria. Not Navalny. Okay. Mishustin, no, he's not Navalny. I'll show you another picture of this man of today, what he looks like. Hang on, let me find his new picture of this guy. And the new picture will be kind of like the old one, only fast forward so many years. All right, I got it. Hang on. Just couple more seconds and I'll show you the picture. Hang on. Please, I did a screenshot real quick. This is it. Huh? Do you recognize him now? Sergei Vladimirovich Kirienko. Okay. Enough. Enough is enough. What? Why is he so important? Well, my friends, that is one of the architects, if not the architect, of the vertical of power of Russia. That young boy sitting right next to Putin had big ideas. Pretty smart guy. He's the Grey Cardinal of Russia. All the bad stuff that is happening in Russia, he has had his hand on that. He has helped Russia to be transformed into Mordor, okay? Sergei Vladimirovich Kirienko. If Russian elections, and elections is his project, he's in charge of the elections, okay? He's the dove. He opposes Siloviki. Okay, I made a stream not too long ago. Who is winning in Russia, the doves or the hawks? So he's definitely not a hawk. He's in charge of Russian propaganda. He's in charge of Russian transformation. He's in charge of Russian education, transformation of Russian education. So he's using soft methods. He does not arrest people. He changes people. He brainwashes people. He forms, Russia into a shape that is required by the state. Okay, that's the guy. He is a very, very crucial indicator. What happens to him will give us an insight on what lies in for Russia in the future. He's been deputy of President's chief of staff. If Putin is satisfied with the job that he's done with the elections, if he delivers according to Putin's expectations, this guy is going to be dismissed of his current position and made someone more powerful. There are different rumors. There are rumors that he's going to lead become the chief of staff of the president's office. Some say that he might replace Mishustin. I don't believe that. Okay, I think that he's going to be gaining complete control over everything non-Siloviki in Russia. Sergei Vladimirovich Kirienko, for you. He was the youngest prime minister Russia ever had with Boris Yeltsin in 1998. And oh boy, has he done bad things to Russia. Okay. Now, it seems like nothing revolutionary is happening right now in Russia. Evolutionary, big time. Changes, this is the milestone, one of the big milestones we are at right now. I will speak more of what I think has happened in the past few days, give you like a short summary, so to speak, in the stream that is coming up tonight. And tomorrow I will tell you what lies ahead for Russia. So please tune in today, tune in tomorrow in a few hours. But before I sign off, a lot of you, I know I didn't see that question today, but a lot of you have asked me, why does Putin even need these elections? I mean, he's a dictator. Can't he just announce himself a president for six more years? And that is a very, very crucial thing to understand about Russia. Vladimir Putin wants legitimacy. He wants to share responsibility. He wants to be the president according to the Russian law. He wants to be popular with people and say that he's popular with people, and he wants to be loved by people. Okay? That's why he is doing these elections. If he seizes power, it goes against the procedures, Russian laws, he will become a dictator. Okay? But now, with these elections, they give him legitimacy. He will be legal president, legally elected, and no one could say anything otherwise. He will be the man of people. He will be the man who people give certain power to represent them, to make decisions for them. Okay? Yes, he does change laws to accommodate his status, his plans, his game, but still, they're laws. And if something is done, that's done according to a Russian federal law, and it's not illegal. That's perfectly legal. And if someone from outside Russia, asks, what the heck, how is this not right? Russians just look at such person and say, well, but that's a Russian law, whether you like it or not. Okay, that's the law that we live by. And they're right. So that's why Putin wants to these elections to become to be conducted spotlessly, so to speak, without any conflicts, without any scandals and so forth. And if Kirienko delivers, and we will know soon, we will know tomorrow, by Putin's mood, by what happens, by meetings in the Kremlin and so forth. So if Kirienko delivers, Kirienko is going to get himself a big boost, and that's going to be a blow to Siloviki. Or perhaps Siloviki will gain more power. We don't know, but we'll find out soon. So anyway, that's why Vladimir Putin needs the elections. That's why he needs to become president in a legal way, So this is it. Folks, thank you so much. I know for a lot of you it's really early. Lorna, thank you so very much for coming so late. And Dirk, thank you for keeping everything in order. Just let me just quickly scan fan funding section. James Varela, would Russia today be different if General Alexander Lebed had lived? Absolutely, Russia would have been so different. That was a great guy. And they killed him. He was the man of people. Marcus Huber, I just read in your news, top idea, that a guy was arrested because of writing on the ballot. Are there no envelopes like in other countries? No, there are no envelopes. There's just a little piece of paper, and it's, it has printed names, and then you just check mark a box in front of one name and sign, and you fold it into pieces and put it in the box. That's how it looks like. So friends, thank you so much. It's gonna be another long day. Thank you. Looks like there's no revolution, but evolution is happening, and the changes are coming. for better, for worse. Would like to thank you again for coming, for just supporting me, for being here, for just being you. I would like to also remind you that you're awesome and you officially rock. And before I sign off, as usual, please say along with me as loud as you can. Carthago delenda est. I'll see you tonight.